Hello everybody, welcome to daily match number... I've actually forgotten which number this is. And the reason I'm sort of off track is that I actually recorded one of these yesterday or the day before, I don't know. I was on track to do it daily, and then it turns out, because I have a recycling bin, because the recycling bin was hidden on the drive that I used to record these, I actually have a separate partition just for raw video files. Turns out it looked like it wasn't full, and it was, and then Fraps didn't tell me that it had stopped recording, and the video got cut to like a minute. So instead, we have a new match here. The third replay from BRZ and the Herd actually was glitched. I've now discovered that I can actually use other Legends Tournament replays. So this is a recast because this was definitely cast during the Legends Tournament. This is a recast of PvEsports versus Dark Hour. And I'm going to cast this and take another look at it just because this was an awesome close match. It was one of the closest competitive matches we actually saw during the Legends Tournament. And both these teams are really good at Firefall. So this is an awesome replay. Let's jump right into it. On the red team, we have PvEsports with Ace Stars on Assault, Alondar and Biotech Fumes, and Tilter on Assault, and your dad running Dreadnought, something that was fairly unique in this tournament. There wasn't that much Dreadnought use earlier before these matches. And on the other team, we have Famine, Stoilish, T2, Vanto, and Warp 3D. Warped, I guess. And they're running 3 Biotechs and 2 Assaults, so a very heal-heavy comp from Team Dark Hour. Now, what we're seeing here right at the beginning is both teams are already poking back and forth at each other, trying to just see if they can get a pick off. Stoilish did go down here, which is why Dark Hour is no longer in this forward position. They actually fell back. Your dad now going full offensive, actually does teleport shot, goes full offense, trying to steal as much damage as possible. These teams are probably calling out targets on TeamSpeak, but we obviously have trouble seeing that and actually understanding it because we're not on their TeamSpeak. So Absorption Bomb going down from your dad, allowing him to survive that burst. And Dark Hour didn't really have enough damage to deal with this. But now, 2 Assaults coming from behind. Ace Stars was too low though. Famine takes down Ace Stars immediately. Famine taking down Tilter. And this looks like it's going to be a wipe in favor of Dark Hour. So, PvEsports did come out ahead before this engagement, which is why the score difference isn't going to be that large. We can see here, Stoilish and Warp pushing forward. The thing is, PvEsports has respawned now. But Dark Hour has this 3 Biotech composition, and you can just see the heals flying around. Someone gets low, someone gets healed. Warped is going to go down here. A lot of those heals running out now. The Biotech's getting spread out. Famine and Stoilish down as well. Vanto and T2, all that's left. Trying to get the triage off. The triage doesn't really work. And T2 is the last one alive, and he is going to go down here as well. So we can see Dark Hour actually making a great push, but then overextending just a little bit, going into the enemy base, when really they kind of got as much as they could have out of that replay. I mean, out of that engagement. What was really inconvenient for them in this case was that PvEsports did respawn. It just got the worst time for them, but that's something they have to try to keep track of. So that kind of thing doesn't happen. I mean, they know when they killed PvEsports. So at this point, PvEsports actually is a really nice high ground position, but we can see here, from Stoilish's perspective, Dark Hour is going to go in on this. A-Star's getting healed, but really, Dark Hour launching headfirst in this position because they knew they couldn't sustain the harass from the top. A lot of damage going on both sides. Vanto is actually already dead, but Fumes is extremely low. Stoilish does not look like he's going to be able to get to him, though. Stoilish really in an area with way too many people the other team goes down. PvEsports getting the better of this engagement significantly. Usually you take a lot of damage when you go in like that, but PvEsports just counter-engaged essentially and jumped back onto Dark Hour. And I also think because Dark Hour is running a 3rd Biotech, they sort of have the disadvantage of not having that much upfront damage. I mean, PvEsports have the same 2 Assault, but they also have a Dreadnought, and we can really see how this is working out for them in these headlong engagements. So now we're looking at this from Fume's perspective. Fume's trying to heal Tilter, doesn't really succeed, but Tilter gets heals from the other Biotech, and now we're back to this close range poke scenario. Does it look like we're actually going to have a real engagement in a moment here, because both teams are getting extremely close to each other. Both sides seem to feel ready for this fight. We can see T2 actually, I guess you could say overextending, but he's an assault, so he has that afterburner. Remember that abilities here have no limits, so all these abilities are extremely strong. You can afterburner across the map. But T2 overstaying his welcome a little bit, doesn't get enough heals, and actually dies. Vanto and Famine healing each other. Vanto going after A-Stars. A-Stars does go down, and the Londar gets extremely low. Gets healed by the other biotech, but we have 2 low biotechs down here. Famine is not going to let this revive happen, and Stoilish has now shown up. And this does look like we're probably going to see some kills in favor of Dark Hour here. A-Stars goes down. This might buy enough for the time for the biotechs to actually escape. But Dark Hour taking a few losses here, but still able to continue to push forward. Fumes has completely overstayed his welcome. They had to get out of there while A-Stars was dying. So Fumes looks like it's going to go down. And now your dad overextending as well. PvEsports seeming to lose a little bit of their composure, not grouping up well enough. Like I said, in a big ball of fighting and shooting, PvEsports comes out ahead because they have this Dreadnought. But in these long, protracted engagements, the 3 biotechs of Dark Hour really coming into play, and the lead is now down to 2 points. So both teams now regrouping, trying to get themselves into a better position. Dark Hour heading back towards the top of the map. There are so many assaults in this game, and assaults are exponentially better when you're above your target, and exponentially worse if you're below your target. So we can see here both sides trying to get the upper ground. Now PvEsports actually does have the top of this rig area, and Dark Hour can't really go up there because if they try to get on these narrow platforms, they are going to get shot down. So PvEsports really in a nice position. But Dark Hour is inside their spawn area, and this side of the map has the advantage because the spawn is extremely defensible. So PvEsports wisely not actually pushing into this spawn area. I've seen in normal pickup game PvP and in the Legends tournament, plenty of teams losing their leads from trying to push into this area. So now we're a little bit of a standoff. And they are going to try to make a concentrated push through the right side, and this is probably the best way to approach this. They are backing up a little bit now. But they actually use the distraction on the right side to try and push forward. And now here we can see why this area is so defensible. Fumes is essentially isolated, and Fumes has no way of getting out. So Dark Hour here getting a pick-off with almost no losses. And Alondar are forced to try and follow in and try to get the revive out. And he does get the revive out, but he takes so much damage. I don't see this going in favor of PvEsports because now both biotechs are low. And Dark Hour can just push forward, and we can sort of see this. A-Stars is extremely low. Your dad is essentially trapped in here. Your dad, you trying to use that absorption bomb to mitigate some of that damage, and does. But I think he's just going to get picked up immediately afterwards. Tilter actually goes down. And I mean, PvEsports is doing fairly well surviving this and everything. But essentially, because they forced to continually retreat and heal back up, they're not all in this engagement, which is why Dark Hour is continuing to push forward and just slowly take points away. Dark Hour is slowly whittling away at their composure, and now A-Stars is completely out of position again, going down. We can see Worth here playing extremely offensively as Biotech, and we can see a lot of the combat prowess in the Biotech. He's just going after these players one after the other. Your dad popping that Absorption Bomb again. Dreadnought really being able to take a lot of damage, but if you're using Absorption Bomb, you're not in the fight, and that's just going to give Dark Hour the opportunity to take out more of these biotechs and more of these assaults. So Dark Hour continuing to be in this fight with their long healing capabilities. We're just going to continue following Warp because Warp really has a nice perspective of what's going on here. Warp, your dad actually goes down, and I think this is going to be the end of the engagement, essentially, for PvEsports, because they have 2 players down, everyone else is low, they have respawns now, but we can see they've already been pushed all the way back to their spawn. Warp now forced to fall back a little bit, basically sort of kind of getting caught by your dad, gets the health pack, now flees. Spotted by other members of PvEsports, takes a lot of damage, but gets the full health pack, so he's going to be fine. Dark Hour now nearly full health. PvEsports taking a lot of damage and a lot of harass. Dark Hour had that high ground position on them, which is why the assault spam is just coming in, and Fumes already goes down. Stoilish actually going down as well. So both sides losing 1. But we can see from the health bars on left and right, we just have to keep watching that. In general, PvEsports taking a lot of damage, but a pick going off on Vanto, and Warp is extremely low. Warp being chased down by your dad right now does not look like he's going to make it. and Dark Hour seems to have collapsed a little bit. Really, Dark Hour's playstyle depends on those biotechs healing each other, and just getting them split off. Vanto going down reduced their healing significantly, and then of course after that it was just a matter of PvEsports pushing forward extremely well. But now Dark Hour is back in this extremely defensible spawn room. They are an entire wipe behind. But that's not an irreversible position. I mean, both sides have proven themselves capable of wiping the other team. Dark Hour just has to do it twice in a row. So the harass continuing to go out. Dark Hour actually trying to take this high ground position, pushing it forward on the right side. I'm not sure I agree with this. This isn't really my favorite area to push out on. They are going to pull back a little bit, just poking back and forth right now. A-Star is looking to go in potentially for the kill. No, just doing some forward poking once again. Vanto actually taking a lot of damage. T2 taking a lot of damage as well. Forced to fall back. This healing pillar going down, healing nearly the entire team, but T2 gets bursted down. And this is going to be really bad for Team Dark Hour. They're less than a full wipe away, and they've actually lost an assault now. Heals going out on Storlish. Storlish pulling back again. Look at all those heals just flying out across. Storlish now trying to take the high ground here. Does manage to deal a lot of damage. A-Stars goes down. That's a lot of the firepower from Team PvEsports. And Dark Hour is in much better shape. This could be the wipe that they were looking for, but remember, even if they get it, it's not going to be enough. Alondra actually goes down. Your dad is extremely low. Storlish now going after Tilter. Not sure if he actually gets that missile shot off, but he's extremely low. He's close to the gap. He's not going to miss these shots. And now both Tilter and Fumes are going to go down, and this is exactly what Dark Hour needed. It is now 20 to 21. 1 kill a difference when you're at 21 kills each is, or 0 kills difference is not a big difference. A wipe is a wipe at the end of the day. If you get 4 members, you could probably get 5. But either way, they only going to get 4 members of the other team now. This is an extremely close match at this point. Storlish looking out to make some poke here. We can watch this entranceway. We can see PvEsports here trying to form up. They know the situation in the game. Both sides realize they only need to get most of a wipe to actually end this game. A-Star's poking forward a little bit now, taking a little bit of harass. And I think both sides need to be a little bit careful here because harass does matter in this. I mean, we can see both teams are nearly at full health again, but remember, every heal cooldown is a cooldown that's blown. Tier 2, these cooldowns are incredibly short because they're obviously crafted gear of some of the highest quality, but nevertheless, if too many cooldowns are blown on healing somebody, that does create somewhat of an opening for the other team to engage. So should push come to shove, having all of your heal cooldowns up when the other team engages on you is so important. And now PvEsports pushing out here. Smart decision on their part, I think, because their spawn is not as defensible as the other one. But they are going to take a lot of harass for this, because Dark Hour does have the high ground. Your dad here going in full force, attempting to take down some of these biotechs. But your dad extremely exposed right now. Pulls the teleport shot off. PvEsports pushing forward here extremely well. Vanto goes down. Warped goes down. That's a confirmed kill on Vanto. Warped is not going to make it. Storlish and T2 are extremely low. Storlish is going to go down. That's 24 kills. T2 is actually down as well, and I believe this is probably going to be GG. So, PvEsports winning game number 1 against Dark Hour. An extremely close match. Both sides playing incredibly well. Some really nice high-level PvP. We can actually see 7 revives going down on each side. Well, 6 for PvEsports. But really an amazing job by both teams. This was some of the highest level play I've ever seen. I mean, there are teams that are better than Dark Hour and PvEsports. Hubris comes to mind based on qualifiers. We are probably going to see another look at that in the Legends Finals coming up this Sunday. But I think this is one of the closer matches I've seen, and really showcasing the dynamic of competitive Firefall, that pushing forward and falling back, the balance of biotech healing and using large amounts of biotechs for the biotech healing. And really, I think the Dreadnought really coming through in some of the later engagements for PvEsports. That last engagement that they had to win was a head-on fight, and they had more upfront firepower. It really comes down to that. Your dad stayed alive the entire time, did insane amounts of damage. Everyone on PvEsports stayed alive most of the time. 2 biotechs is generally enough, which is why you don't see 3 biotechs that often. But yeah, once again, an amazing engagement, and I will be recasting the rest of these for the next 2 daily matches as well. This was a best of 3 and it did go to game 3, so looking forward to that, and I will see you guys later.